ok.com. That's it. All right, today is the high producer panel. I'm going to bring up Leah Hanna and Denise Schroder whenever I, and you guys pick wherever you would like to sit. And so I'm going to give you guys, someone just hold it. Yeah, there we go. Woo, woo. And I'm recording and, right? Yeah, okay. All right. So I kind of got some stats up here. So Leah has had, I didn't put that, you've been licensed for approximately
probably like 4.5.
4.5 years.
Yeah.
Started out on a team as a team agent, got into production very quickly, and now is running a team, but just her own transactions, 31 transactions for over 13 million in volume over the last 12 months. So as an individual person, that's impressive. Also as a team leader and helping mentor and coach others is also very impressive. So Denise is part of a team, Troy and Denise and Troy Schroder, and together they did approximately 40 transactions. I was trying to combine your guys' because some you were on and some you were on, and I think I did it, so correct me if I'm wrong here. Approximately 40 transactions for approximately 14 million. Does that sound about right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So obviously anyone who's going to be up here during these is an expert at many things. But when we do these, I try to ask them to kind of hone in on what do you think is your best asset as a real estate agent or as a salesperson or as a business owner or whatever. And I like them to kind of talk about that specifically. So just because I asked Denise a question doesn't mean Leah's bad at it, right? It's important. So I want to make sure, so some of the things we're going to focus on, Leah wanted to focus on the listing presentation and the conversation to have with sellers during the presentation and during the actual transaction and during the marketing piece. And then Denise, we're going to focus more on marketing and kind of what marketing is, the difference between marketing and prospecting, and how to get your name out there and how to become, like you said in your email, the trusted resource. We also are getting our internet fixed finally, hopefully, knock on wood. And it always fails during our meetings, so I made the guy show up during our meeting to see what was wrong. So hopefully it's not, hopefully it's not too distracting. So thank you guys for agreeing to participate. It's always exciting. I know everyone always enjoys coming. So we're going to have a couple of planned questions that we're going to go over. And if you have questions during that, yell them out. And then at the end, we'll have kind of a Q&A thing too if anyone has any questions saved up. So don't be afraid to interrupt, raise your hand during after we're done talking, and we'll get questions answered. But the more questions, the better conversation we'll have. So don't hesitate to ask. Okay, it's hot up here, so let me roll my sleeves real quick, and then we'll get going. All right. Pay no attention to the man in the closet. All right, we're going to start with Leah. Okay, so again, we're kind of focusing on the conversation and your actions with sellers. So when you walk into a listing appointment, what do you feel like you do differently than the average agent to kind of give you an edge?
Okay, so I made notes here, but I don't know if I do this differently or if it's just, I feel like this is just what I do and what helps me get the business is I walk in and I assume that I'm going to be their agent. Like immediately when I walk in, I'm like, okay, I'm your listing agent. Show me around, let me take some notes. And so I have compliment them on their home and all of that. And then I have them walk me through each room and I take notes as I'm walking through. Usually I just take notes on my phone. And I don't really bring up anything, to change or staging or anything yet. I just kind of walk through, and imagine I'm writing my listing description. And so I'm like, okay, so there's granite countertops, there's double vanities, and I'm just kind of like, what are the floors? What does it look like? That's really just like the visual part of it. I bring with me my listing packet that I've created for. It just basically goes over the whole selling process. So I ask them, after we do a walkthrough, we sit down. Can we sit down somewhere, usually at a table or in the living room or the couch, and just go through the listing packet with them. It explains just the selling process, and it's like a page by page. And usually it's just like a brief overview, especially if they've sold before. If they haven't ever sold before, then I'm like, okay, well, we're going to go into more detail on this. And then I bring comps. Usually it's just a one-line CMA with the comps. I bring the county assessor sheet and sometimes I'll bring the Zillow's estimate print off. So just going over the comps. I don't have them sign anything. I don't have them sign a listing agreement with me at that time. I feel like that's kind of a little pushy, and I'm not a pushy salesperson at all. So I just don't even bring up, I bring up a listing documents when, like at the end, I'll be like, okay, well, let's schedule photos. Let's go ahead and put that on the calendar. When do you think you'll be ready to have photos on the home? Like, because a lot of times a seller, you walk into the house and it's like staged perfectly. They keep it really clean and nice. And then other times you walk in and it's a total disaster. And I'm like, I can't get photos for like a few weeks. So let's figure this out. And so we put it on the calendar, and then I'm like, before I schedule the photos, I'm going to send you all the listing documents through my e-sign software.
Do you ever ask if they're talking to other agents, or you the whole time we're just assuming you're listing with them?
I don't talk to them if they talk to anyone else. The thing with my listings in the past year or so, they have been with referral clients and people that I know and trust, and that I know trust and love me. And so I already feel like I'm pretty confident going in that they're not talking to anybody else. But when they are talking to other people, I'll explain to them my process and how I handle listings and win their business, just with knowledge. And so we're gonna go, sitting at the table or wherever, we're gonna go over the comps, or we're gonna go over the pricing strategy and how, if you price a home too high, it's gonna sit a lot longer. You're not gonna get as many buyers coming through because they're gonna be scared of that price. And if we're at market value, you'll get a lot more buyers come through. And then if we're way under market value, you're gonna get a ton of buyers, but you may not get the price that you want for it. So I kind of explained, just based off of these comps, this is what an appraiser is gonna say this house is worth, because we've got 3 comps that say it's at 150 a square foot. I think this is exactly where we need to be based off of your updates. And then we go through and, if they do have another agent that says, oh, well, they said that they would sell it for $50,000 more, then I'm like, I explain to them overpriced listings are gonna sit longer, and I don't know where they got their data, but here's the data. This is the facts right here. These are the comps. This is what we're pricing your home off of, not some agent that wants your business that is gonna sit with this listing for way too long.
Yeah.
So
I've seen, rather than saying that's overpriced, you can call it aspirational pricing, which in its name indicates that we're probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
And it's a nice way to say that's our aspirational price. We can try it or whatever, but it's a nice way for them to say that to them, that the name implies it's unlikely.
Yeah.
But it's a nice way. You don't ever want to deliver bad news. You want to deliver the truth, but you want to try to avoid it being bad.
And
right?
they'll be like, well, do you think we could try to list it at this amount? And I'm like, I would feel confident listing your home at this price. So I don't tell them no. I'm never like, no, we could never do it. But then I just rebuttal it, I don't know what the word is, and say, okay, well, this is what the comps are saying. This is where I would feel comfortable listing, and I feel like we could get it sold quickly at this price and get you the most out of it without having to sit so long, without having to get, a lot of concessions. So I'm very honest up front about price. And then I do talk about, like, if you decide you want to do any updates to the home, or if if this is the price we could sell it as is, but if you want to go ahead and change out the floor, or just paint the whole house, or change out the kitchen and put granite, or paint the cabinets, or whatever, like, these are some things that would add value. And so we could sell it potentially at a higher market value than what I recommend now. And so I'm like, do you want to do these updates, or do you want to sell it as is? And so we just kind of, I go around like room to room with them after we've already gone over everything. I negotiate my fee with them sitting there. And usually I just say, my fee is this. We always want to pay the buyer's agent this. And then it's always negotiable, but typically they agree to my fee. Sometimes they'll be like, well, this agent said they would do it for that. And I'm like, go ahead. I mean, that's fine, but this is my fee. But it doesn't happen very often where I get a lot of pushback. I do reduce my fee if I'm helping them buy a house. I always put in there, that I'll reduce it. And then I also reduce my fee on the sell side if I bring the buyer. So like if I'm at an open house and I have a buyer, I'll do it usually for like a point less to work both sides. But so I just kind of go over that with them. Usually they agree to that. So yeah, we go room to room and I give them ideas and updates about decluttering and staging ideas. I tell them, since you plan on moving, let's go ahead and start packing, and you can store stuff in the garage. Obviously, don't pack anything you don't need in the next few months, and if you have questions about it, go ahead and take it down. So I always like explain to them, you know, we want to make the house look like no one's living in it. We want it to look very impersonal. So take down all your personal photos, anything that's like sentimental that has like your name on it or whatever. Like, we don't want those things because these are public photos and they're on the internet, and so everyone can see them, and we don't want those in our professional photos. And you know, it's a high statistic, but about 75% of buyers are looking online at photos, and so we always want to have professional photos done. I pay for that out of my fee. I don't ever go around with my phone and take pictures and post that, because it's not good marketing. It's not good for the buyer. I mean, for the seller. And the buyer's gonna see those pictures and skip right over it because the pictures look terrible. So I always use a professional photo, make sure the beds are made, no toilet seats up, no bras hanging in the laundry room. Remove everything from countertops, so that, because we want the buyer to see the house and look past, not have to look past the stuff. And so I explain, like, when I work with buyers, they don't have to look past stuff. They want to see the features and the layout and imagine their stuff in the space. And then, as I schedule the photos, and then I have a conversation about what they expect from a realtor. Like, how often do you want me to communicate with you? Do you want me to call you every day? Do you want me to just give you feedback on showings? Like, what are your expectations? Because some sellers will just be like, just let me know when we have an offer, and others will just want to hear back from you constantly. So everyone's different. So that's what I do. That's about it. I think I covered everything.
I got a couple of follow-up questions.
Okay.
A lot of really good stuff. I'm sure you could talk for an hour on each thing you said, because there's a lot of depth to all that.
Yeah.
You talk about you have like a seller packet or something you bring. How much do you put a ton of value on what's in the packet, or is it just kind of like a guideline for you to walk through, and the conversation is the valuable part?
It's a guideline.
Okay. So the conversation is the valuable part.
Yes.
Not some cool graphic that convinces them.
I feel like this is just like for me to have talking points as I go through and make sure I hit everything. And so I always make sure I tell them about showing time, and I'm going to add your text. I'm going to add your number so that anytime a showing comes through, you're going to get a text message to confirm it. And I always say, like, if you can't do that time for some reason, let me know, and then I'll reach out to the buyer's agent, because I don't want you just canceling it and then not giving them an opportunity to reschedule, because we could lose that buyer. And so I just kind of go through different steps with, getting the house prepared, making sure it smells good, making sure the front yard's clean. And then there's like a list of things. I don't go over everything, but I'm just like, make sure it's really clean, for photos. I was like, it doesn't need to be clean for me when I show up for the appointment. I just want it clean and nice and decluttered for the photos.
Yeah.
And so they understand my expectations of them, and then I give them a time, like, how much time do you need to get your house ready?
Yeah, and that's what I'll come back to you. So the importance of, especially if you're newer or inexperienced on the listing side, that packet, create your own. We have one as a company, Copper Creek, and in the printout, it just says the things you need to have a conversation about. Because the whole thing, and what you may have noticed or not, is the whole conversation is making them comfortable with the process. They have to know what you're gonna do when I hire you. It's not about stating how awesome I am, and I did 31 transactions and 13 million, and I'm awesome, and everyone else sucks. That's not what it's about. It's about getting them comfortable with the process. So from how we prepare to how we price, not what, but how we price. It's comfort. And so that printout we have is the same thing. It's just making sure you're having the right conversations, because if you skip a conversation, it creates a speed bump in the future, or a roadblock if you're unlucky.
And I leave that with them too, so they can go over it if they have questions, later. But I'm pretty thorough with it, and I go through everything. But I never talk about my sales. I never talk about my accomplishments. I'm just myself and just, personal with them. And they already kind of know. A lot of the times they do already know me. But if they don't, if it's like a referral and I'm meeting them for the first time, I still act like I've known them forever.
Yeah.
You walk in and like assume the business. You're my friend, you're my buddy, you're my client. I'm going to take care of you, and make sure that we get your house sold.
Which is why referrals are awesome.
Yeah.
So get more referrals if you can.
Yes.
Because they are significantly easier to close and manage and everything else in between. So that's good. Denise, anything we didn't touch on, or anything on your guys' listing that you feel like gives you an edge as you're having conversations?
I think Leah more than covered everything. That was amazing. I love all of it. I think For us, before the listing appointment, we do a lot of groundwork where we have deep conversations before the listing appointment. We send like a pre-listing questionnaire that's pretty detailed. And then when we go to the house, we feel like we truly know, like, you know, all the systems. We're not going through asking questions. We're truly focusing on what they can do, you know, to coach them to edit the home, things like that. So we also drop off a pre-listing packet.
Okay.
So like I dropped one off, it has a QR code, so it has testimonials and different things where they can watch videos about us. So when we get there, like she said, we're not saying, oh, we're awesome, we do this much production and you should hire us, you know. We are there to listen and understand and be a mentor. So just kind of taking that, oh, it's about me and this is why you should hire me, as going in, assuming the listing, like you're gonna hire me, right? And so just doing those things on the front end helps us just be able to be, I guess, have more keen knowledge of the property to begin with.
Yeah.
And so then when we do our pricing strategy, when we say those options, the three, you know, as is, do you want to do the aspirational, or, you know, how we price it, we kind of already know what option they should pick, but we still give them some options so they feel like they have some control.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. That's
basically.
Sellers, they need your confidence. They need you to control the situation, but they also need to feel like they are in control
Right,
too.
right.
It's a funny
It's a
dynamic.
psychological thing.
It is, and that's, I love I've always loved and I forgot I come back to you. I'll ask your question. I've always loved, and I've never done it, and I've never really coached it a ton because I haven't done it, but I love the idea of pre-listing packets. I think it gets them to know you, if especially if you're competing. If you know you're competing, it gets them to know you a little bit better. They feel like they know when you walk in, if they watched you on video a little bit. And the questionnaire, you can have more insight, all that stuff. I think that's especially if you're competing. If it's referral and you think you got it. But if you're competing, even then, it solidifies a lot more.
It helps things move quicker if you know so much about the house and they're ready to list quick. It's just.
Yeah, I've always liked that a ton. And so whatever your system for listings is, pre-listing or during the presentation, whatever, just put it on a graphic and that becomes your listing thing, or that becomes your pre-listing packet that you provide. So don't overcomplicate it. The packet itself doesn't have to be crazy advanced or proprietary or anything like that. It's just something with your name on it, QR code with some pictures, some videos, some testimonials, something simple like that sets you apart from people who just show up and, you know, don't know what they're saying or asking or talking about. And there's a lot of that out there, unfortunately. So that's perfect. I love the questionnaire and that's good. Okay. I'm gonna finish Leah's questions and we'll jump in, then we can keep jumping in.
Okay.
Leah,
Yes.
what are some things that you do after you have the house listed to get the home sold? If it's either sitting on the market or, you know, a lot of agents, I think, get a bad rap for just like putting on the MLS and then going to play golf or whatever else they do.
So the days of doing that are over. I mean,
Yes.
in the past, you know, a few years ago, you could put a house on the MLS and it would be gone in a week. It was like the best market ever. Well, we're not in that market anymore. So there's also, you know, some legwork you have to do with your listings. So market's always changing. So price and photos are the biggest thing. Buyers are shopping online. After it's listed, I create marketing graphics and reels for social media. I add it to Facebook Marketplace. I do like a graphic for them that says we're selling our home, so they can put it on their Facebook Marketplace with, you know, pictures of the house, or they can put it on like their neighborhood market or neighborhood page, and then also have their friends share it.
Oh, so you give them graphics to go.
Yeah, I
that's good.
create it just on Canva and send it to them to post, so that it's coming from them. And then I also post my own, like I'll go through and do reels of that, like videos of the house to post. I have my team like, comment on it, share it, and then within the brokerage, sometimes I'll post in there and be like, you guys help me share this. And then we do open houses. I know some people don't do them, but I feel like it does bring in people from the neighborhood that can come look at it, and their friends and family or whoever, if they want to, you know, choose their neighbor. So we do that. It also helps with newer agents to feel comfortable with, you know, getting buyers and talking to people at the open houses. And then If the home has had several showings or even no showings and no offers after a few weeks, I have a discussion with the sellers at that point about adjusting the price. Because it's basically, I tell them, it's the market telling us we're overpriced, and overpriced listings are gonna sit a lot longer. And right now, I probably do like 3, maybe 4 weeks, because the market's a bit slower with buyers. But I always want to at least have that, they may be like, no, we're going to keep it at this price. I'm like, okay, well, at least we have the conversation. But, with no offers, it's basic. It's usually the market telling us we're overpriced, or the house needs to be fully painted, or the house needs some kind of updates to it to help it sell quicker. And I try to get feedback. I'm the annoying agent where I get on showing time and I text every agent that has shown the house.
Yeah, good.
What was your buyer's feedback? Because no one leaves, most people don't leave feedback anymore on showing time. So I have to reach out for it a lot of times, just to hear what they're saying, and then I always give that to the sellers. And then I want to start doing more Zillow Showcase, because it has that virtual floor plan. So I'm going to start doing that more, just to help with the marketing piece on listings. It is a little more expensive to do, but it really does make a difference.
Have you tried the Matterport app?
I have not. Yeah, it does a virtual floor plan where you can go in the room.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
QB Casa is another one.
Is it the same thing?
I feel like
the
the same
dollhouse
concept.
version.
Buyers are wanting that more and more
Yeah.
now on listings online, where they can see the floor plan before they want to know if there's a mother-in-law suite, or if there's 2 bedrooms downstairs, or what's going, how many where has the flow. So I think I'm going to start doing more of that. And then some more neighborhood farming. Once I have it listed, send out to the neighborhood, this one's just listed, postcards, something I can sell yours too. So I want to start doing more of that. But in the past, like I said, we didn't really have to do a lot to get a house sold, and it was a very recent past. So, so now it's just a lot of extra. You got to put more effort into it for sure.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I took a couple notes. Number one is having the hard conversations. That's the number one
Yes.
thing as a real estate agent you have to do. 90+% of your work is done before you list it. With the staging, the pricing, the marketing, the photography is done before you list it. Once it's on the market, we've put our best foot forward, and we're just letting the market, do its job. But if the market gives us feedback, and then we have to react, and most agents don't react. They just I don't know what to do. Let's drop the price, and we don't know. And so if you're not getting feedback, if you don't, if you're not shopping in houses too, seeing what competition's doing, all that kind of stuff, you're doing a disservice for the seller. And so having the hard conversations is what most people are afraid to do. If no one comes to see their house that week, they're afraid to call the seller. That's when you should be calling. No feedback is feedback. And so having those hard conversations is the number one thing you have to do to get the home sold. Because if you have the hard conversation enough times, then they actually, if you set the expectations properly up front and have the hard conversations, a lot of times my sellers ask me if it's time to drop the price.
Yeah.
And I'm not having to have that hard conversation with them.
It's the tough conversations throughout the whole process though. So from start, even once you're under contract, you got to talk about negotiating repairs and what the buyers are asking for, and you cannot be timid having these conversations.
Yep.
You just need to give them the facts.
Yep.
Don't get emotional about it. Just this is it. This is what they're saying. This is what we need to do. Especially when it comes to roofs or foundation repairs, those things have to be done. And so just having those conversations are really important.
And if you do kind of hem and haw a little bit, and you're like, oh, well, then they're going to walk all over
Yep.
you. And they're going to not do it. And then that just hurts them. And so if you know something should be done, or if you know this conversation needs to be had, just have it. A couple things. One, the conversation's always worse in your head than it is when you just have it. So just have it. But two, it's the only way to do a good job for them. You have to guide them down this process. That's our job, to guide them down this process. So
Yeah.
important.
But do it in a kind way.
Yes, professionally,
Professionally.
but it
don't
must.
yell at them. Don't tell
Yeah.
them argue or any of that. Just hear, especially because sometimes they'll get angry, and you just got to hear them out. Okay, get it out of your system,
Yeah.
and then you just got to be okay, but this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
This is in my experience, and just put it back on in the industry. In my experience, this is what we have to do. So,
Yep. And it's not me; it's the market.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
market is telling
You're
us to do
just
this.
interpreting the data.
That's all it is. I love your house. I'd buy it for more if I
Yeah.
could.
Oh yeah.
my wife won't let me, so I'm trying to find someone else. So, so yeah, it's the market's data. So yeah, what conversations or what else do you guys try to do once it's listed to try to make sure it's selling?
I mean, you can do agent content tours, but if it's a cool house.
I'm gonna hold that.
Oh yeah.
You know, if it's a cool property that, you know, people want to create content.
Yeah.
Obviously reverse prospecting, open houses, even though statistically we know, but you know, you can bring the neighbors in. So right now we have a listing that they did aspirational pricing. They've only lived there 2 years and when we back near family. And so we told them, you know, we had them sign, you're pricing your home over where we have professionally recommended. Because we want that to anchor with them. Like, remember, like, we told you to price here. We also have them initial sign the CMA, so there's never any going back every single time. And so every week, I hate confrontation and it shouldn't feel like a war room, but it often does, because when you're reaching in people's pockets, they can get defensive. You know, they don't want to be sold to, or they don't want you taking money out of their pockets, they see. So that conversation isn't easy, but we've had to keep repeating this conversation to this little couple that's gotten one showing yesterday in over a month and declined it. And because it wasn't good for their baby's bedtime, which I totally get. And then she quickly changed her mind and it was too late. They'd already moved on and scheduled another showing. But the conversation I had was, you guys bought 2 years ago. We've had high interest rates, inflation. We haven't had a lot of appreciation at all in your neighborhood. And they just can't grasp losing money or even breaking even. They think, well, you have to make money with real estate. You haven't lived there long enough. And the data doesn't show that that's what's going to happen. So they just want to keep sitting and praying, because they've prayed on everything. And I love that people pray on it, but you can't pray the data away.
Yeah. You have to take
So-
action. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just ask, like, do you want to sell?
Yeah.
Yeah, how are, and you think they're
intend to sell?
motivated. These people seem super motivated.
I think it should.
Yeah.
Oh.
So unpack reverse prospecting a little bit, because that's a super tactical thing that people can actually do. And so talk about show of hands, who knows what reverse prospecting is? Okay, about half.
Yeah, you just go through the MLS and see who's on a search that matches the criteria. And then you can message them through showing time, or you can call them and say, hey.
Bingo.
Basically, yeah, getting people to answer their phones. So, but
What
just,
do you say, like, I just have this listing that you might.
yeah, this listing, and I think, you know, and then I go over like the highlights of what we think would be great about it or whatever, and then
Does that show you have success doing that?
not much.
So the only time
But I can at least
really-
say that I did
Right,
it.
Yeah. So it's activity, right?
Right.
It turns.
Yeah.
So the way I use it with lower hanging fruit. So basically, if you set up a search for your client in MLS, the MLS knows what houses are in that search. So if I have a listing and Denise's clients get sent that listing, it tells me, hey, Denise has a client that might be
Is it the
interested in
ones
your
that have,
property.
like, a 12 by it or whatever, like the top match? So you know when you're sending out the listings, they'll say like, this is a top match, because it'll have like a 12 ranking next to it.
Oh, I haven't seen
I
that.
haven't seen the ranking.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
well, when I do concierge.
Okay, yeah,
And that's
okay.
probably why.
So concierge is different, yeah.
But you can do reverse prospecting, I just never done it.
Yeah, okay. So basically, I know which agents have a buyer that their criteria matches my listing. Does that make sense? So I can call the agent and say, hey, you have a buyer that might be interested in my house. Have you seen it? Is there a reason you haven't gone and looked at it? It's in your search, so why haven't you come and seen it? And so you get, even if those buyers are using their MLS portal, you can click a heart or click a thumbs up, and you can like it or love it. So it tells you if that agent's buyer liked it or loved it too. So we do this a ton with the Lennar homes, but when you have listings, same thing. Once a week, you should be going through there, seeing if any buyers have liked your property, but have not come and shown. So if I see Denise's buyer put a heart next to my property, but Denise hadn't shown it, I'm calling to say, hey, your buyer put a heart next to this. Have you guys talked about it? What's going on? So yeah, it's you're scraping the bottom for activity, but this is activity where someone said they liked it and they haven't seen it yet. So what's the problem? Let's get you out. And maybe it's like, they said they ended up not liking the backyard. Well, we can do this or that, or the price. Well, we can do this. And you can start cutting deals. But if they don't come and see it, you can't do anything with it. So reverse prospecting is a way, I mean, it's low on the list of things that you do if it's not moving, but it is a way to find interested parties that haven't come and seen the house for whatever reason. So that's a thing a lot of people don't even know is a tool that don't even know is there. But like with our Lennar, each community has a sales pro in it, and weekly or twice a month, we'll give them reverse prospecting lists for a lot of the properties, and they just go. People in here probably have received emails or calls from Lennar reps if you have a client set up. So they're going through and getting emails out saying, hey, here's our incentives, here's what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. So we do that a lot for them. It's kind of more mass marketing because they have a ton of houses to sell. But when you have one, and there's a buyer that likes it and they haven't seen it, you got to get them out and look at
Do
it.
you know that Lennar has like luxury homes and $1.3 million homes
Yeah.
in like California?
Mhm.
and Florida?
Their average, I was out in Arizona, outside of Phoenix, and their houses are 750, 800,000.
Wow.
And it's
The same
very
house?
same product.
It's
The
so
same
crazy.
countertop.
Yeah,
Different-
I saw that the Florida one was 1.3 and it was
Yeah.
like
Wow.
the exact same.
Same house, maybe a little bit bigger.
Maybe
but
they
you're in
finished
Florida.
The garage.
No, they do now. Lennar does finish
They
the
do?
garage.
Oh, good.
Roush Coleman can't use the extra coat of paint or the extra gallon of paint.
Good.
But that's what I try to, 1 gallon of paint times, 1,500 houses. I don't know.
Adds up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that to hear them tell anyway.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but yeah, it is funny. You can buy the exact same house here that someone paid $700,000 for in Arizona. It's really weird. So that's good, yeah. And again, the important thing about listings is, again, 90% of the work is done up front, and then it's just managing expectations throughout, having the hard conversations, reacting to the market, and that's where if you are having trouble with a house selling, get with someone who's sold a bunch of houses and they can show you what the market is telling you. Because if I just gave you a bunch of data but you don't know how to react to it, then you're not doing any service. So
And
why is it sitting?
One more thing I want to add about like my listings is that sometimes a seller will be like, okay, well, before I even see the house, they'll be like, what is it? What should I sell it for? What is it worth? And they'll look at the Zestimate or whatever, and then I always tell them like, without having seen your house in person, I cannot give you a price. I need to actually walk the home. It'll take me like 10 minutes, to walk through it. But I never give people a price before I've even seen the property. So, and then that'll also, sometimes they can take advantage of that because if you give them a price up front, then they'll be like, oh, okay, this
Hold
is what I'm
you.
gonna sell it for.
Stuck to that number.
Or they'll go to somebody else and try to
Get more.
leverage something there too. So I always just make sure like I meet them in person, develop, work the relationship more in person and
Yep.
talk to them about the house at that point.
Talking about pricing and comps, I have one more thought on that. I always like the line I always like to use when I'm talking with sellers is we like to make data-driven decisions. If an agent ever tells you, I feel like we should drop the price, then they don't know what they're doing, right? Here's what the data is telling us. So we like to make data-driven decisions. And so, so when we're looking at comps and everything, when we talk about aspirational pricing, we're in Oklahoma City Metro. There's 25,000 plus transactions a year. It's high frequency. I can look, there's enough comps for me to look at and tell you about what it's gonna sell for. So the higher we go into that aspirational pricing range, what I say is it becomes less predictable. If you price it where I tell you, then we're probably gonna sell it within the average days on market, around 3 to 4 weeks, right? Based on what the data is telling us. If we price it up here, I don't know. Could be a week, could be 6 months, could be a year. It's less predictable. So when you throw in unpredictability or that lack of that, it scares them a little bit. You can influence them into making a more predictable decision. So that's what I always like to say: data-driven decisions, and then it becomes less predictable. I can tell you what will happen if we're here. I can't really tell you what will happen if you're there. And sometimes I can help influence them, guide them back to where they need to be. Tim, you had a question like 30 minutes ago. I forgot what it was.
Oh, I was just curious if you had like strategies for like your non-occupied homes and stuff. Like, do you go on shows? Do you still send that to your clients to approve? Like, how do you treat those properties?
Usually if it's vacant, I don't do go and show, but I'll just approve it right away. And then back to that, like, if it's vacant, I'll also talk to them about doing staging options, because, right now staging does make a big difference. Some people like to do virtual staging. I would prefer just like actual physical staging because the virtual is just so deceiving. But just talk to them about that, pricing on that. It really also depends on like the price point on the home. So if it's a $200,000 house, I probably won't recommend staging it. But if it's 500, then we very likely will need to stage it. So
Yeah. All right, Miss Denise. we're going to talk a little bit more about the marketing side now, or marketing tools and ideas. So, big thing, I talk about this a lot, the difference between like marketing, advertising, and like prospecting. And so, tell me how you view the difference between marketing and prospecting.
So marketing to me is like a magnet. It's like a long game. It's building your brand, staying top of mind. Every story, every reel, every text, it's like a quiet audition. So you're doing all this marketing, and we add every single one of our potential clients on our personal Facebook. We want them to get to know us and be relatable. And we're super quirky, and we sell real estate as a team together, so we do a lot of universal couple humor. We try to just be super relatable and approachable, where when people meet us, they're like, you're exactly the way we see you online. We have different spokes, and I've added more on. I do more marketing. I should say I do just as much consistency today as I did 13 years ago. But I've added spokes. So now, a lot of people are doing local
Explain
highlights.
what, like spoke and wheel.
Oh, like
Yeah.
different categories. So you educate, you inspire, you create humor, you do result-oriented stories, meaning if you had a house that listed multiple offers, tell a story in your reel. Don't just do a static post that said just sold. I mean, nobody cares. That's so vanilla. They're just going to mute you or block you. Trying to make things as interesting and thought and emotional evoking as you can, I guess.
So a spoken wheel is like, the wheel is your main topic, content, whatever it is, and the spoke is more niched topic of that primary topic. Does that make sense? So when she says she's putting more spokes in, she's just going into different niches.
Right.
Is that kind of, yeah, okay.
I'm making sure that during the week I'm doing so many education posts. I'm doing hyper local. So we do a dish on OKC. So we go and we highlight a lot of local restaurants, which is super fun because you get to eat and then create content, and then you're connecting with the business owners. So you're giving them their card. You tag them. I always tag the manager and the restaurant. I've had like a restaurant group manager now that's inviting us to eat free and go all these places just to create content. So there's a lot of fun in that. Also being like the first journalist on the scene. That's what I always wanted to be, like a journalist. So like new things that are happening, whether it's the new Thunder Arena or, if I wish IKEA was coming here, it's coming to Tulsa, but something like that, or you're getting a Buc-ee's, like you're the journalist on the scene. So and then highlighting like weekend events, family events, free things for kids, just like there's so much content and information out there. So I'm focusing a lot about being a resource locally, not just, it's all about SSS, it's like we're a resource. So we also have used media, so press releases, human interest stories. We've written stories, unique stories about our clients, and we've gotten them like full page Daily Oklahoman. We've been on HGTV House Hunters 4 times. We've done Steve Harvey twice, Oprah. I was on Food Network, Worst Cooks in America. Every time I was on the screen, it said realtor. Every time we did a press release around the TV show, I always made the journalist write Oklahoma City realtor on Steve Harvey. Like we always tied it back to real estate, even if it wasn't, we weren't even talking about real estate. So that's some of the ways in the early years that we used media. And I'm a theater geek, so like marrying all that together and selling real estate is just like everything everyone's kind of doing now on steroids is what I've been trying to do like since we started. So when we started closings, we would bring props like crazy hats, boas. Now we do like the powder cannons, confetti. I get in trouble at title companies, so like Denise was here.
Yeah.
But doing things like, I think the main thing is showing people through your marketing how you negotiate, how you problem solve, but how you care. Like we care about every question, every detail, and we celebrate every single win for people because we care about people. And I didn't even know why that would make me emotional, but I think it's just that if you don't care about people genuinely, you're in the wrong business, in my opinion. So that compared to prospecting, which I hate that word because I feel like it's intentional relationships, but it's connecting. And so prospecting can be so easy. Like I would rather like have my eyes stabbed out than call FISBOs or, do all that with expireds. That's just, it's not me. So, and if it's you, that's amazing. Mad respect, but some people door knock, cold call, sit in open houses every day. We prospect. One of the ways we're currently prospecting intentionally is we joined 2 pickleball clubs. We are insane, competitive pickleball players. So I go in, first week I'm there, this is first of the year, I wear a hat, want to buy a house. One time. I don't wear it all the time. I'm not that vulturistic Mathis Brothers furniture guy. But we go in there, and now everyone knows us. They're asking us for comps. They're asking us for handymen. They're telling us they want to down. This is like 9 weeks in. Then we've integrated into a higher level pickleball club, but we love the people over here. Just as an example, find out what you're passionate about. And have little niche groups, and you don't have to vomit on everyone, but you can tell people what you do and just literally be a resource. Like, call me anytime you need a handyman.
They
or
have to know. They have to know what you
They
do,
have
yeah.
to know, but I'm not wearing want to buy a house hat every time we go to play.
Yeah.
There's a fine line for
Yeah. I think that's good. I always kind of compare, you mentioned it's a long-term thing. It's a long game. There is, especially when you're getting started, or if you're trying to grow a business or start it from scratch, whatever, I always kind of break down the 2 types of prospecting from like, one is hunting and one is farming. Hunting is like if you're starving and you need to eat something right now, you got to go out and kill it so you can eat it. Farming is where you can plant seeds, and in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you'll have something to eat. And so marketing is more on that farming side. It's about brand recognition, brand awareness, top of mind is what I always like to say. But if marketing's all you're doing, it might be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, versus if you're hunting, you can find stuff right away. So one's not better than the other, one's not worse than the other. They're 2 different, that should probably be done side by side. So it's important to understand marketing is a long game. Don't spend time and energy and money on marketing and quit if you don't have a business in a
And
week.
you have to be consistent. Like, Amber watches our social media. What is your perception? Because it's interesting to hear other people's perception.
I just love how innovative and creative you are, how you bring in the arts. I started at Oklahoma City University with Craig Rochelle. I was telling you about that. Well, my best friend was Elizabeth Marlene Beachy, and she was an SOCU. We were around all the creative arts. And I feel like you put the fun in real estate, and it's entertaining. I don't watch TV, but like I'll get on my Facebook and I'll always see you guys, and I'm always impressed at how innovative. Like, how did she do that? I mean, you got doing somersaults and ski island, and I'm like getting engaged, thinking, well, I would use her.
And
if I
now
was a
with
realtor.
AI and everything, all the videos you
I'm
do.
doing some very crazy things with AI.
And I really think it's creative, and I think that's part of your brilliance, is because you are so creative. And I think also, the other thing I think that's so intelligent for you to do this, I think it brings people's stress level down, because I think buying a home or selling a home can be stressful.
I think earning the right to be humorous, because when it's time to take care of business, they know we're negotiating masters, or our knowledge is keen. We have to earn that right. We can't just be, but we do enough results-driven stories, don't you think, that people understand we're all about business when we need to be?
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like there has to be
Right.
kind of a
So,
balance.
and levity, and I think you can take a negative and turn it into a positive. So, like, I'm selling a house today to 2 commercial pilots, which could be a little bit intimidating. So I tell them that, I'm the grandma realtor that's gonna work super hard, and I don't drive a luxury car, it's just a little Toyota Corolla, because I had to pay my way through college. Well, then Matthew said, same here, Amber. We don't come from money either, our parents were poor too. So you can take a negative and turn it into a positive. You're not gonna see me show up, but I will outwork my competition. I will work super hard for you. And so I think that's what you're doing, and you're engaging people, and then you're very approachable. And I had a question for both of you ladies, and for Brett too. And I'm honored to be part, because I started it a little over a year ago with Brett at Copper Creek. I researched a broker.
She recruited us.
Yeah.
But, so I'm so glad to be on Brett's team. But, what I was gonna ask is, I was thinking this, do you ladies ever ask permission up front to have a hard conversation? Like when you're doing the listing, do you ever say, oh,
How honest do you want us to be?
oh, hey, Susie, can I get permission up front to give you the hard feedback or the hard conversation? Because what me personally, I would say, because I'm a people pleaser and I don't like to make anybody mad at me, but if a buyer says, I think your house is overpriced, or we don't like the carpet, it's too old, do you ever ask permission up front to have those hard
Yeah,
conversations?
we've asked permission, and we always try to be empathetic and say, we're trying to look at your home through a buyer's eyes. We're not in here trying to be hypercritical. We just have to do the best to position you to get the most money. And in that, sometimes it's great for you to live in, but it's not good for you to sell. So we're gonna have to have some conversations about smell. And I always say, I have animals too. Like I always bring it back to, I get it. I've sold houses. I've had stinky cat litter box, whatever. But we just really trying to soften it, but get permission where they know we're not trying to hurt their feelings, but we are hired to be the professional and be the coach.
Yeah.
With that question, I don't ask permission. I just let them know that I'm going to be very honest with them up front. And this is what, in my experience working with buyers, this is what they see when they walk into a home, or this is what they're expecting to see. And a lot of times you get better feedback when, we do these things. And yeah, about smells, like I have a very strong sense of smell, but when I walk into a house, I basically am like, I can't smell anything, but go ahead and maybe put in some air fresheners, because a buyer is going to want like a clean, nice smell in your house.
Neutral ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like flowery, but
Yeah.
maybe something more subtle. But no, I don't ask permission. I just tell them this is the way. I'm just very honest.
Yeah.
And I want to be honest with them, and I, tell them I'll treat them like a family member, when I'm selling their house, because I want them to know, like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to be upfront and honest about things in a nice way. Like, you don't want to be rude and be like, oh my God, your house smells so bad. Please
Right.
do air fresheners.
Yeah.
But in
There's
a
good
nice
ways.
way, there's a way to do it. And then, like, just when I say, you want the house to be very clean and look, and you want it to be something when someone walks in the house, they imagine their stuff in the house. So take down personal stuff. So that's kind of how I approach it. And then with tough conversations, that first listing appointment, you're having tough conversations. So they know, like, your personality, they're going to get to know you at that point too. So,
And
but I think just saying you're a people pleaser and saying you want to do whatever is best for them is going to be something where they're going to walk all over you. So you probably don't want to, you probably just want to come in more confident,
Yeah. And each person is different too. There are different personality types. So someone who is more direct, I don't think you have to ask for permission. Someone who's a little more social, or kind of wears their emotions out on their sleeves, you're probably going to have to ask for that permission.
Price war beauty contest.
Do what?
Price war and a beauty
Oh, yeah,
contest.
price war,
And I just
yeah.
always remind them, when you want someone to really deep clean, I'm like, this is a beauty contest. Like, make this
Yeah.
place shine.
Yeah.
He always tells sellers that they have to wash their windows. That's his pet peeve. Like, just do all the things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. That's good. Okay. So this is good. This is kind of two questions are kind of one. So I'll ask the two-parted, and you answer how you need. You and Troy just recently moved, or not too recently, but in the last year or two, moved into a new neighborhood. What have you done to build relationships in that neighborhood? And then what would you do if you moved into, or I guess you probably did, move into a neighborhood where multiple other realtors live there already? How do you become the resource for people in your neighborhood?
So we've moved 5 times in 7.5 years. So we're professional movers,
Yeah.
and we buy our listings sometimes. But we've wanted to live on the water, so we found a house in Ski Island, and we gutted it. spent 200 grand on it. I mean, we're married to this house. And I decided we wanted to be really intentional about not farming, that seems like the wrong word, but connecting and building relationships. So we would naturally be going out and kayaking, and they're outside all the time because it's beautiful and it's water view. So there was a lady that was feeding like the neighborhood lovebird swans. So we pulled up, we were talking to her. Troy is amazing at talking to anybody, and he can connect with anybody. And so my son and I, we left because he was talking so long. We were like, we're going to go ahead and get our workout in. So he stayed talking to her. Well, she ended up texting us, and there are 3 other realtors in our neighborhood, and one of them lives like directly across the lake. And I didn't want to step on any toes, wanted to have respect, but I also I was dying to get a listing in our neighborhood. Because I love living there, and I wanted to market the lifestyle. So she calls us, we get the listing, and one of the reasons why we got it is she could feel the excitement and how much we loved the neighborhood, and that we were going to do a great job marketing her house. So we hired a videographer. We got a neighbor I didn't know real well who's like a professional skier. We got video footage of her skiing. I did the intro video of me on an inner tube, because you can tube, kayak, ski, fish, all the things. So we wanted to show like the lifestyle from the water perspective. So then we had a 24-hour blitz, open house, brokers open, neighbor, first look, whatever. And we offered boat rides at all of them. Some people that live in our neighborhood don't have boats, they only have kayaks, so offering everybody a boat ride. Every single showing called the agent, do they want a boat ride? So, I mean, we were like committed to this. And we were scrambling. Sometimes it didn't fit our schedule, but we wanted everyone to be offered a boat ride. So we did some amazing marketing, and we actually broke the record in the neighborhood. Thank you, Jesus. It was like $196 a square foot, but it was the record-breaking sale. So then I sent an email, or not an email, I sent a post on the neighborhood page, but I also sent a letter, and it was handwritten, like, you know, it didn't look like labeled or anything. It was blue ink, I think that's a thing. And I wrote a letter from start to finish what we did to market the house, how we strategized, and multiple offers, just how it all worked, so that we could get some credibility that we were raising valuations. He joined the HOA board. I'm the social chair. We do Santa, you know, stocking drop-offs, Easter egg hunts. I'm starting a kayak club. He's in men's group. Like, this is not just a once of the year thing. It is like, it's a continuous part of our business now, but they're also our friends, so it's really easy. So that is kind of how we've integrated ourselves into the neighborhood, and it's a commitment too, because it's a lot. You have to be present, and it's not just about sponsoring a garage sale once a year. Like,
That's why it's important to do it in, you know, tribes or you know, that you're already in, right? You already
Right.
like playing pickleball. If you hated pickleball, that'd be a terrible group to join.
right.
And so it's your neighborhood, you live there, you know the people, you like the people, you love the lifestyle. It's really easy. So pick things that are naturally, I think Doug has a really cool group that he works in with, kind of a men's group that, so find stuff that you like are in already or want already, that makes the commitment of it much easier. That's, I was at a, what's his name, Tom Ferry thing a couple years ago, and he showed someone's mailers, kind of like what you did. You got a foothold in the neighborhood, and then you blew it out, and then you had to show everyone what you did afterwards, right? It worked. And so this person sent out a mailer, not just like new comp with their face on it, but it was a list of everything that we did. Yeah, it's not, the house didn't sell for the new comp, we sold the new comp by doing, the story, exactly. And it was really cool what they did, but same thing. It's like, here's what we did, and then why would anybody list with anyone else other than, like, no one's done this. How's it selling there?
We also put a QR code on there, and I forgot to mention, we got testimonials from people in the neighborhood. Like, I had 10, so I was able to connect with people, get them, they love the neighborhood so much they were glad to do it. And then during every showing, every open house, I had the testimonials on her screen. I coached her on, this is how you prepare for a showing, you have this playing, and then it was in the QR code. So I also got connections with a lot of the neighbors just from doing that, and they were also like, no one's ever done this.
I remember seeing you post about that. That's such an awesome idea. Getting testimonials from the neighbors about how much they like the neighborhood, and then
putting them
And they
on a
were
slideshow
awesome
on the screen.
testimonials.
Like how cool! Like no one does that again. And then another realtor walks by, or another buyer, or open house or whatever, and sees that. It's like that's a really
And
really
then
cool
one of the
idea.
realtors that helped someone buy a house in our neighborhood, lives in the neighborhood, we get a call from her and she said, we don't want to sell our house, we love it here, but financially we need to. And my husband said, we have to call you guys to have interview you guys, but I was just going to use my friend that lives in the neighborhood that helped us buy it. Well, I immediately added her on Facebook, and I add everybody in the neighborhood, that are members on my friends group. And so she's been watching us for like 6 weeks, how we market. So when we went over to the appointment, there was no mention of the other realtor. She just said, we love how you market. So it was just letting
So
people.
are you getting pushback from the other realtors? in the
I was gonna
neighborhood,
say.
though? Are they hating on you?
It's been, there's a little snark here and
Yeah.
there, but it's like you just have to keep moving
Yeah.
forward, because they've had the opportunity to
that's
market
right,
too.
That's right.
Yeah, they've had the opportunity to be as aggressive
Yeah,
with
that's
marketing,
right.
and they haven't done it.
That's right.
You're not getting boat rides?
That's right. That is such a good idea.
We
I
were
love
even
that.
offering drinks and whatever. I mean, it was a whole full service deal.
Yeah, exactly. Do I need a client? Can I just get a ride? That's good. So, Leah, I know with the amount of referrals, most of your business now is referrals and past. And are you doing anything to be top of mind, marketing wise, with past referrals, clients, social media, whatever? Like, why are people calling you back? Obviously, you did a great job. But
Did a great job.
You did an awesome
and then
job.
they call me
but-
back. I stay in touch with them, email campaigns, send, maybe once a quarter something just so that they remember, oh yeah, that's my agent.
Okay.
When they're ready to sell, and then they call me. Usually it's just like an informational, like seasonal, something about the market or something that I thought was a cool thing to send everybody. And then I'll text and check up on people. But it's pretty organic how it happens when the old, an old client calls me or they refer me to somebody else. And then prospecting, referrals and marketing, I partner with Zillow. So a lot of agents don't like Zillow. I love Zillow. And so I partner with them, and most of my leads are generated that way.
So that's and again, no wrong way, no right way. The answer is you should probably be doing both, but you're doing a lot more, I'm sure you guys are too if we dug into it, one-on-one communication over time throughout the months and quarters and years. Handwritten notes, pop buys, all those
And on
things.
Facebook tells you
I do
everything.
like
Yeah.
once a year or twice a year, I send a little gift or a little, like this year I did just little ornaments, that said like, I bought my house, it's 2026 or whatever, to everyone I sold to, or 2025. So they have an ornament and it has my name and logo on it. And just so that they see it at Christmas and they're like, oh yeah, Leah sent us that. I also do closing gifts. I'm real big on that. Just having something they can keep for a while so they remember who it was from. So
Yeah,
that's about it.
yeah, that's good.
We do personalized charcuterie boards with their name, like the state of Oklahoma, and then our logo on the back, so it's like not obnoxious, but every time they use the board, they'll think of us.
That was my go-to closing
Yeah,
gift.
you told me.
Yeah, I'd go buy 30 of them, and then I had a friend that laser etched it. And
If anybody needs a good resource in Edmond, there's a place that does it for like $20 a board. Like, it's obscenely cheap, and they do an incredible
does that
job.
include the board?
No, you got to buy the board,
Okay,
but you can
that's
get the
just the
board
edge.
at Ross or Marshalls or
Yeah.
whatever for super cheap,
Yeah.
even big ones.
Yeah.
Can you send that to us?
Yeah, who is it?
Well, it is Oki Engraving, and it is within a store called Lock It Up Safe store in Edmond, but they have a division where they do the engraving in there. It's the same guy, and y'all, it's beautiful work.
That's
so.
cool. Yeah.
They do tumblers too, like they can do anything.
I almost bought a laser etch machine
Did you really?
because I like needed them. I'm like, oh crap, closing's tomorrow, and I needed one.
You can
So-
make more money selling houses.
I'm way more. Yeah, it was not a side business. It was literally a don't forget. Yes, don't forget business. And then whenever I'd forget, what is it called? It's on May and Grand. Okay,
Oh, that
What's
has like
Blue-
Blue 7.
Blue 7. They've got Oklahoma doormats.
Gifts,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Oklahoma
yeah.
gifts. And so it's like if I was in a pinch, I'd run except they didn't open until like 10 and my closing's at 9. So there's a couple times I got in trouble, but yeah, if you pick a thing and just do it, and it makes it easier. But closing gifts are huge for referrals, marketing, because that was every time I got a referral to come back and list the home that I had originally sold them. almost every time my gift was somewhere. I could see it. And so when I was doing closing gifts, I wanted them to be something that can be displayed or used. And so the gifts are great because it's a cool cutting board. People display cutting boards, but you use it. And what I was told is they put the logo and everything on the back. And when you have like a display cutting board, you're supposed to flip it over and cut it on the back so you don't mess up the front of it. So every time they cut, they see your name. And so every time I got a call back, they kept it. It's top of mind stuff over the years. So a consumable closing gift can be gone in a week, but something like that is a good idea. I like anything engraved. We're kind of done-ish. If you guys didn't have anything to talk, any other questions? A couple of really good questions. Anything else we can chat about, questions about? Yes, Troy.
How do you budget for Zillow?
Well, initially I was buying leads up front, and then now I am on the preferred side, so we pay it close.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just budgeted by, it was much cheaper to pay up front when I had that option, but now that my team has grown, I mainly I give all my leads to my agents so they can learn, and really with the preferred side, it's more of like a learning opportunity for new agents to get leads and work the leads and know how to run a transaction. So that's what I'm doing with it right now.
But it is if you're going to budget for online leads, it's a 3-4 month break-even process.
Yeah, and it's a 6 month at a time. I don't even know if they're still allowing people to buy them up front because they're trying to move everybody to the preferred side right now. But you can partner with a lender. They'll pay for half.
Yep.
Too.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yep.
I think a lot of lead companies will allow you to partner with lenders
Yep.
to pay for some of it.
Yep. But yeah, it is a. You're not going to be profitable for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, depending on the size and closings and all that.
I mean, there are the leads though that come in and you show them one house and that's the
And
one.
they go under
and you
contract,
close.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
it does
they call
happen.
those great white buffaloes or whatever.
Yeah.
Or unicorns.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
And those are great, but they usually happen once a quarter,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And then there's other leads that are just, kicking tires and they're like, I just want to go see this house, and they have no money to buy a house.
Yeah.
So it's hit or miss. It's a numbers game for sure.
Jerica, Jeff?
Yeah, I just wanted to know from both of you, like, what's kind of your percentage breakdown on, buyers versus sellers for last year in general?
It's about 50-50 for me. More buyers, maybe it's like 60-40, a little more buyers than
That's
sellers.
what ours is, 60/40,
Yeah.
listing 60.
Listing 60, okay. That's good. What else, guys? Anything else?
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming
Hope
out.
y'all learned something
Oh,
today.
Wait, we do have one more, Rachel.
So your pre-listing, packet, you email it, or did you say you bring it to the?
I email it with the pre-listing questionnaire, but then we also like to go over and deliver it. And I wrote a book about like out-of-the-box marketing approaches for real estate, basically. So I give them a copy of my book just
Smart.
to get some credibility. I don't care if they read it. I
Yeah.
just want them to know I wrote
You're
a book about
published.
marketing
Yeah.
real estate.
Yeah, you're published. I love that. That's great.
And at what point were you guys feeling like you had to bring on like assistants and help? Like how busy did you get before you had to start hiring?
It was about a year and a half, or almost 2 years ago when I started to break, because I was getting more leads than I could handle, and so I just needed assistance there. I don't really have like a personal assistant or anything. I'm used to pretty high volume though. Like I'm okay with having 10 under contract and just working through them. But as I got busier, I needed to bring people over to help with that. So
We started and we went 7 months without a paycheck, and we went to every class, we door knocked, we called everybody and their brother's brother, nothing was happening. I called my dad, who's a farmer, and I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to do this. I was married years ago before, and my former husband had told me, you could never make it in real estate, you don't have what it takes, you can't stand out, we're not gonna line our garage walls with superficial signs with your face on them with no yard to stake. So basically I was shut down. So when my FedEx guy walked in, we had seen each other every day for about 5 years. We get married, blended 5 teenagers, quit our jobs within the same year to be self-employed. Didn't have a paycheck for 7 months. We're freaking out behind closed door. Our kids are like, are we gonna be able to eat? They were teenagers, they were perceptive. Then my dad was like, what have you seen me do? your entire life. I said, get up every day, go out to the farm, plant seeds, disc, plow before the harvest. He was like, your harvest is going to be insanely bountiful, because he knew everything we were doing. And then the next 5 months, we sold 40 houses.
Oh,
So
holy cow.
don't give up. You know, sometimes it feels like, am I in the right place? But if you do all the things and you're committed, we needed help because we had so much business. We didn't even know how to do the business, much less it was just like
Yeah.
raining offers everywhere. So you'll know we haven't had good luck with admin so far, but I don't know where Christine is. She's getting ready to start helping us.
Yeah. Christina.
Use Christina.
That's
Yeah.
I was gonna say the first
you
thing.
have
Oh
a
yeah, I've got one. The first thing anyone should hire is an admin transaction coordinator. That's just it's the easiest. You don't actually have to take on any payroll. It's just a transaction cost. That's the first thing you take on, and that should give you quite a bit of time back, depending on what you're doing. And then the second piece is you just figure out what the piece you don't like, and then start to leverage with the pieces that you don't like. But you can't hire, if you don't understand something a little bit, it's very difficult for you to hire someone for that, if that makes sense. Like if you know nothing about online search engine optimization and you go hire someone, you're almost always going to be mad and upset and waste money. You have to understand it enough to be able to manage someone, even if they're a third-party vendor. So a lot of people, I think, make the mistake of hiring something that they don't know anything about first. I think you should leverage yourself by getting what you do know and what you are good at. It takes most of your time, or you don't want to do, and get that off you first. Go create more business, and then you can kind of get those other arms. But there's no wrong way to grow. That's its own class. That's a whole thing. But I'll say the number one thing is a transaction coordinator. Whether you're doing one deal a year or 100, I think everyone should have a transaction coordinator.
And when it's not your gift and you have to adapt to it, it literally drains you.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like half the work when you're in a contract, like just the maintenance of the transaction.
But I think knowing how to do it is super important, so you're not
Yes.
cutting yourself at the knees. Like
Correct.
you should know how to do a transaction from start to finish and be good at it, and then hand it off, like
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. It just makes you a better manager if you understand it. You have to manage that person through that process. So yeah, that's a big question. So, all right. What else, guys? All right. Thank you. We do these once a quarter.